Hey, thank you so much for watching. I'm Pamela Peterson. I'm a IRS enrolled agent licensed by the Department of Treasury. And I'm here today with Mike Sullivan. He is a former IRS agent and also a former IRS teaching instructor. So he taught a lot of the current IRS agents that are at the IRS. And we are here today to talk about
We were here to talk about, I know you were so starstruck about speaking to me today. You were talking about when you give IRS a financial statement.
oh,
This
yeah.
happens all the time. It's nothing. I'm just kidding. So let's just pick this up. So, a lot of people, as you know, Pam, when they have IRS debt, they think IRS is going to work with them. They do. But, the core of what holds the IRS collection system together. There's one piece of information they need that everything, it's like the sun, everything has to revolve around something there, and it's the financial statement. They have a couple. They have the 433F. Like if you get a tax bill, you call IRS. When you call the 1-800 number, the people are going to use the 433F. That's the abbreviated. It's a two-page form, as you know. The 433A is used by the revenue officer in the local office, and the 433 AOIC, as you know, is used for the offer and compromise. So, here's the big wake up call. Over and over, Pam, we get calls and people says, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they took away my expenses. I can't believe. The reason for that is you have to understand the IRS system and how they collect debt and what they use and what their indicators are. And if you don't understand that, it's going to be a really bad hair day, right?
Yeah.
When you call IRS. So, I mean,
Yeah,
you had
they'll
one, right?
only
You just
allow there's actually a national standard, and it's depends on the state and also county. It goes all the way down to your county level. And if you've got expenses more than that,
Mhm.
they're going to disallow them.
Yes.
So you might think, oh, I'm in hardship because I pay for this and I do that, and I can't pay my tax debt, but they'll throw stuff away. So when you come to us, we look at all that and we look at some little maybe backdoor ways to make things look certain ways while still being, upfront and honest, so that we can present you in the best light to the IRS.
Yeah, and I think what the big wake up call is, what's the major expense in anyone's household? It is rent, right? Rent or
Yeah,
what?
rent. Yeah,
Right? That's it. So that piece holds generally, IRS considers that holding between 28 and 32% of a person's expense. So if you're off there, your whole financial statement is going to be off. And where that adds up, we had someone call us not too long ago. They had a 20, or was it no, it was a $3,200
yeah,
rent or mortgage, and they only allowed them $1,800 a month. Therefore, it left another $1,600 over and above the IRS national standard. So, what did IRS want on that person? As you know, they
18
wanted sixteen
or
hundred
6.
dollars
Yeah,
a
yeah.
month, and that really was a sucker punch for that person, wasn't it,
Yeah,
Pam?
yeah. And then the other big component on there is your assets and equity. And don't think that, like some people, when they do it themselves, they think, oh, I'll just not say this. But the IRS has ways, they have many, many ways where they can actually find, like you can't lie. Like you just, it's not going to be um, cover upable. If you've ever applied for, uh, uh, like a loan or whatever, you when you apply for a loan, usually you kind of boost your income and you boost what your net worth is, and the IRS can actually see that. So if in situations you've previously tried to boost how you appear, you can't downplay that to the IRS because they'll find those ways. So that is another really big aspect of that form, the 433 is making sure it just has to be all it has to be all there, but there are ways to kind of shine it in a more favorable light.
Yeah, and IRS, you bring up a great point actually. IRS can pull up a government LexisNexis report. If you can pull LexisNexis up yourself. You're just not going to get the government version where if you were a private detective or someone who wanted to pay for the service, and you have the right credentials, you can go and pull up a whole bunch of stuff. Everyone's, car payments and mortgage payments and all this stuff. So IRS has a plethora of information sitting there. I will just tell you this. This could be another feature film. An IRS agent sitting at their desk. I want you to think of this. IRS agent can pull up your tax returns for the last 6 years. They can pull up your public records. They can pull up DMV. They can pull up your business license. They can pull up Homeland Security information. They can pull up information from other government agencies, state agencies about you. With a federal summons, they can pull up your checking account for the checks for the last 6 years. They can pull up your credit report. They can see what you charge, when you charge. They could go on Facebook. They could go on Instagram. IRS has a plethora of information not really leaving their desk. So before they even contact you, they can
I
find out.
know.
And I'll tell you a really sneaky little trick. I don't know if I shared this with the unit. So there was a guy a long time ago, and I knew the guy was just lying through. Some people, they're sleazy. So I asked the guy first to give me his IRS financial statement. So I had it sitting, and I asked the guy to come back in 3 weeks because I knew what I was going to do would take time. So what I did is I noticed on his credit report he had applied for a couple houses. So I had his IRS financial statement I committed to here. And I went ahead and I subpoenaed for the financial statement that he turned into the financial institutions. So those came back to me. So, when you're trying to get credit, you put a coin collection, a stamp collection, you put everything on there to shine that financial statement so much that it's glowing. You don't even want anyone to look at it, right? And here's this little old dingy financial statement that he gave me. So I came in my office, we sat down, and I played really coy. I says, looked at this financial statement. He says, man, he says, you really don't have much, do you? He says, nah. He says, you're right. I'm just scraping. I'm just really trying to get by. I says, I'll tell you, you must have really kind of been down in the, oh yeah. Last couple of years, I've been down in the dumps. I'm really not doing well. I said, oh boy, that's too bad. And I had him kind of where I wanted him. I had put the line in the water and he was snagging on to that bait as much as you could, but I just didn't know how long I wanted him to take that bait and run with it. So I let him run with it. I says, oh boy, says, I see you don't have a really nice car here. Oh no. No, I don't have a really nice car. That line is bzzz, that line, fish line goes bzzz. But there's always a point in time that you're gonna snap that thing and start right. You're a fisher, baby. I love to hear that. You're start coming back. But I let him play with it. I put my hand off it. Bzzz. And then all the line almost got out and I clicked it. I started reeling in. I says, that's odd. The guy says, well, what's odd? I said, I have two of the financial statements. The other one didn't come back that you gave these financial institutions you wanted for credit. All of a sudden, that face of his start sink and sink. He almost beat that desk that he was sitting in front of. I says, gee, I says, I didn't know about these two muscle cars that you had. Oh, yeah, but they're really not in good shape. Oh, really? I says, I happen to subpoena the checks that you wrote about 3, 4 years ago on these cars. And, one was a 1965 Ford Mustang. And says, looked like you did a nice job restoring that. And all of a sudden, the guy's eyes perked up. He just stood there. I says, now, do you want to give me a correct financial statement, or do you want me to turn these financial statements over to the Department of Justice for bank fraud? So all of a sudden, it was a come to Jesus moment. So you have ways in your job that you can make people come to their knees. But you know what? What we try to do, Pam, you and myself, we try to look at all that and then put that all together, and knowing what that person has, we try to do what's best for the person. So at the end of the day, we're not going to do all the stuff, but we know what all the stuff is they can do. We're
Yeah.
going to make sure you don't have to sink into the desk. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So just to clarify, in case there's anybody that's uncertain, we are working on the side of the taxpayer that owes, not on the side of the IRS. We want to get you tax relief.
I like that side though. That side was fun for a while. I want to tell you, I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Well,
You fit.
Mike, there is another good point to bring up, just to keep people aware. And also another reason why it's not always in the taxpayer's best interest to represent themselves is that, just like all IRS agents, at least we think, are human, and they got good days and bad days, and they might just bully you around a little bit and do things that you don't know if they're allowed to do or not. So it is good to get a representation, especially if you've got a really serious delinquent tax debt balance. Definitely seek representation. And if you actually have, a question about maybe a personal situation, or even if it's just like a smaller tax debt, put it in the comments. Let's hear about it. And we'll see if we can do a video about it and address that just for you. So Mike, thanks again for I love all of your stories, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.